Today we're going to talk about a really high-stakes problem. How do you clean up sensitive transcripts without accidentally exposing them in the process? We're going to dive into a tool called Blackout, which promises to solve this through what it calls private on-device redaction.
So let's just start with a question that probably hits pretty close to home for a lot of you. How are you currently handling sensitive transcripts? I mean, really think about it. The last time you had to share an excerpt or collaborate on something confidential, what did that process actually look like?
Because the stakes here, they couldn't be higher. We're talking about a lawyer sharing deposition notes, a therapist reviewing their session notes, or a journalist doing everything they can to protect a source's identity. In these jobs, confidentiality isn't just, a nice to have. It is an absolute professional and ethical requirement.
Now, we've all dealt with the usual options, right? On the one hand, you've got the slow, painful manual work, which is just begging for a mistake. On the other hand, you've got these online tools that make you upload your most sensitive files to some random server, creating a brand new risk. Blackout's whole pitch is that it's a different way. It's automated, it's accurate, and, this is the big one, it keeps everything 100% on your computer.
And that brings us right to Blackout's core promise, redaction without the upload. So let's dig into how it actually delivers on that, because this idea is central to its entire design.
So what is Blackout exactly? Well, at its heart, it's a tool that runs in your web browser, and it finds and removes sensitive information from transcripts. But the most important part, the absolute key, is that the entire process happens locally, right there on your computer. Nothing, and I mean nothing, leaves your machine unless you explicitly tell it to. Okay, so that might sound a little bit like magic, but it all comes down to what's called its in-browser architecture. This is how the tool actually makes good on its privacy promise. It's how it builds that trust. So let's break down how it manages to stay local.
The workflow is actually incredibly straightforward. First, you just load your transcript. You can paste it in or just drop a file right into the browser window. Then the tool uses the JavaScript that's already in your browser to scan all that text right there on your machine. After it's done, you review its suggestions, make any changes, and then you export a clean, safe version. The key detail through this whole thing? Zero data is sent to a server, period.
And this next part, I think, is just brilliant because it shows their commitment to transparency. They're not just asking you to take their word for it. They're actively encouraging you to check for yourself. You can literally open up your browser's developer tools, click on the Network tab, and just watch. You will see nothing happening. That level of verifiable security, it's almost unheard of. Now, there is one exception to that nothing leaves your machine rule, and that's the optional AI scan. What's really important here, though, is how Blackout handles this exception, with total, upfront transparency.
So, let's just ask the tough question head-on. When does any data actually leave your device? Because if we're going to talk about trust, we have to tackle this directly. And the answer is super simple. It only happens in two situations, and you are in complete control of both of them. First, when you log in. Obviously, your email has to be sent for verification. And second, only if you explicitly click the AI Deep Scan button. The crucial point is that your actual transcript text never, ever leaves your device unless you consciously choose to use this optional feature.
So why would you even use the AI scan at all? Well, the built-in local scanner is fantastic. It's fast, it works offline, and for most transcripts, it's all you'll need. But the AI Deep Scan, that's different. It understands context. Think of it as a safety net for those really high-stakes cases, where it can catch nuanced references that a simple pattern matcher might miss. And here's the other thing. Even when you do choose to use the AI, your data is still protected. Blackout uses an AI provider, Anthropic, that has a strict zero-data retention policy. Now, what does that mean? It means your transcript is processed and then immediately thrown away. It is not stored, it is not logged, and it is definitely not used to train their AI models.
All right, so we've established that your data is secure. Now for the fun part. What can you actually do with your newly protected transcript? Let's take a look at how you can put all these redactions to work. You get 3 really powerful ways to export your document. First, you can create clean text. This replaces names with generic labels like person, which is perfect if you just want to share a readable summary. Then there's code named, which assigns consistent codes like witness 7. This is fantastic for collaboration because you can actually reverse it later if you have the key. And finally, of course, you have the classic redacted PDF with the black bars for those final print-ready documents.
So when you put it all together, what does this really mean for you? Well, it all boils down to one simple, powerful word: control. Blackout is designed to give you the confidence to work efficiently without ever having to compromise on security.
It's your transcript and you're in control. But hey, you don't have to just take my word for it. A licensed therapist who is an early beta user put it perfectly. They said that for professionals, the biggest anxiety is any tool that touches their sensitive notes. But they felt comfortable recommending Blackout because, in their words, I can actually see it isn't sending anything anywhere. That visual proof is everything. And you can experience this exact thing for yourself with absolutely no risk. You get 3 free sessions to try the whole thing out. There's no account needed, no credit card required, and true to its promise, no upload. You can test the entire workflow right now.
I want to end with a quote from Cameron Stewart over at Agentic Layer that I think just perfectly captures the whole philosophy behind Blackout. Confidentiality shouldn't be a technical constraint. For anyone out there working with sensitive conversations, this isn't just a feature, it's a mission. It's about letting you do your job effectively without ever having to compromise on protecting your clients, your sources, and your work.